Listen to me. Focus is the key that unlocks your destiny. Some of you are talented. Some of you are gifted. Some of you are more skilled than anybody else in the room. But you keep losing. Not because you're not capable, but because you won't stay focused. You start one thing and then something gets hard and you quit. You get distracted. A text message, a party, a setback, it all pulls you off your path. But champions lock in. Champions lock in. Champions don't move until the mission's complete. You hear me? Stay focused when it's boring. Stay focused when it hurts. Stay focused when nobody's clapping for you. Because it's in those moments, the grind, the silence, the pain, that greatness is being built. That dream, that dream, it ain't gonna wait on you. You gotta go get it. And you can't get it without focus. I need you to eliminate distractions. I need you to say no to things that don't move you forward. I need you to protect your vision with everything you got. Every day, every hour, every second, make it count. Lock in and don't stop until the job is done. Winners don't get lucky, they get focused. You think talent is enough. You think just because you're gifted, you're gonna win. Let me tell you something. Talent is overrated. Everybody's got talent. Look around. There are people with voices like angels, speed like cheetahs, minds like computers, but they still lose. Why? Because they can't focus. They can't lock in. They got all the ability in the world, but they scatter their energy like dust in the wind. You think that's going to take you to the top? Listen to me. I've seen it too many times. The kid with the golden arm, the natural born speaker, the student who aces tests without trying, but they all fizzle out because they never learned how to stay focused. They get bored. They get distracted. They let the noise of the world drown out the voice of purpose. And while they're out chasing quick thrills, there's someone with less talent, but unbreakable focus grinding in silence. Stand on task, moving inch by inch toward the goal. You don't need to be the most talented. You need to be the most locked in. That's the truth. Because when you're focused, you're dangerous. When you're focused, you start seeing things differently. You stop chasing every shiny object. You stop comparing yourself to other people. You stop wasting time trying to impress folks who don't matter. You start asking, does this action get me closer to the goal? Does this choice build me up or break me down? Talent's like a spark, but focus, that's the fuel. That's the fire. That's what keeps the engine running when things get hard. Because here's what they won't tell you. Talent might open a door, but it's focus that keeps you in the room. Everybody loves the beginning. Everybody loves the hype. But what about when the lights go off? What about when nobody's cheering? What about when the process is slow and it feels like you're going nowhere? That's when the talented quit. That's when the gifted start doubting. That's when the focus get ahead. See, when you're focused, you don't need external motivation. You don't need applause. You don't need somebody constantly reminding you to work. You wake up with that fire in your belly. You go to bed with your purpose echoing in your head. You say no to distractions, not because you're better than anyone, but because you know where you're going. You've got tunnel vision. While others are doing 10 things at once and finishing none, you're doing one thing and mastering it. That's the difference. That's the edge. I was never the smartest. I wasn't born with silver spoons or Ivy League DNA, but I learned to focus. I learned to block out the noise. I learned to say no to party, to sleep, to drama, because my dream meant more to me than comfort. I didn't let my lack of talent become an excuse. I turned it into a reason to work harder, to stay sharper, to focus longer than anybody else in the room. Focus beats talent every single time. Why? Because focused people outlast the storm. They outlast rejection. They outlast dry seasons. The talented give up when it gets hard. The focus keeps showing up. The focus keep putting in reps when it's not fun. The focus don't care how long it takes. No quitting is not an option. You got talent? That's good. But talent without focus is like a race car with no steering wheel. You're fast, but you're crashing into everything. You're powerful, but you're directionless. Focus gives your gift purpose. Focus gives your energy a path. Focus turns potential into progress. So stop trying to be impressive and start being consistent. Stop trying to be everywhere and start showing up in one place every day until it breaks wide open. I don't care how gifted you are. If you can't stay focused, you'll never finish. You'll never reach the level that belongs to you. Your greatness is not in what you were born with. It's in what you do with it. And if you want to do something legendary, you better learn how to lock in. Get focused, stay focused, and finish what you started. Every time you stop working to check your phone, you're making a decision to let somebody else's life matter more than your own. Every time you scroll for 10, 20, 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes you just handed away. Time you'll never get back. And you wonder why you're not where you want to be. You wonder why your dream feels stuck. It's not because you're not smart enough. It's not because you don't have the tool. It's because you keep letting distractions steal your destiny. You've got to understand something. Distractions are not just little annoyances. They are dream killers. They are silent thieves. You don't even realize what you're losing until it's too late. 1 hour here, 1 hour there. Before you know it, a whole year is gone and you're still in the same place. Distractions don't look dangerous. That's why they're so powerful. They come in quiet. They come wrapped in entertainment, comfort, gossip, laziness. But every time you give in to them, you're drifting away from the life you were born to live. And let's be real. Some of you are addicted to distraction. You don't even know how to sit still. You can't focus for 10 minutes without checking something. You can't finish a book, a plan, a workout, a project, because you keep letting your attention get pulled in every direction. How do you expect to build anything solid when your mind is scattered like leaves in the wind? You want to be great, but you're distracted by people who don't even know your name. You want to be successful, but you're checking social media more than you check your progress. You say you want it, but you're not protecting your focus. You're not fighting for it. You're letting your future get hijacked by distractions that don't feed you, don't build you, don't grow you. You're wasting time trying to impress people who don't care and entertain yourself into mediocrity. Look, I get it. Distractions feel good. They're easy. They're everywhere. But that's what makes them deadly. You don't have to look for distractions. They come to you. Progress. Success, that takes work. That takes attention. That takes staying locked in when everyone else is drifting. You can't get distracted and be dedicated at the same time. You got to choose. Are you going to stay focused on your vision? Or are you going to keep letting the little things pull you off track? You say you're hungry? Then act like it. Protect your time like it's money, because it is. More valuable, actually. You can get money back. You can't get time back. So why are you giving it away like it's nothing? Why are you spending hours on things that don't push you forward? Why are you letting entertainment rob you of elevation? You don't have to say yes to everything. You don't have to reply to every message, every invite, every notification. You don't have to be accessible to everybody all the time. That's not discipline. That's distraction. If you want something different, you've got to move differently. You've got to start asking yourself, does this help me grow? Does this bring me closer to the goal? And if the answer is no, you cut it. Ruthlessly, without apology. Because you're on a mission. And missions require focus. This ain't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about waking up every day and making choices that align with your purpose. It's about shutting down distractions before they become detours. Because that's how it happens. You get off track a little, then a little more. And then months go by and you're wondering what happened. What happened was you let distractions win. But not anymore. Not if you're serious. Not if you're really about that life. From now on, you control your time. You guard your focus. You don't let anything or anyone come between you and your dream, because the dream is real. The goal is real. But the only way you're going to get there is if you block out the noise and stay locked in. Every second matters. Every choice counts. You either feed your distractions or you feed your future, but you can't do both. You keep waiting for motivation. You keep saying, I don't feel like it today, and that's why you're not winning. You think motivation is going to wake you up every morning, fire you up, push you through the pain? No, motivation is a visitor. It shows up when it feels like it. Discipline is a resident. Discipline is what moves when motivation is asleep. Discipline is what keeps you focused when your feelings are all over the place. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline. See, most people think focus is about just blocking out distractions. That's part of it. But real focus comes from discipline. The discipline to say no. The discipline to stay on the path. The discipline to keep going when it's boring, when it's hard, when it hurts. Discipline is a decision you make every single day, not once. Not when you feel like it. Every single day. You want to stay focused. You want to build something that lasts? Then you've got to build discipline into your DNA. You got to train yourself to do what needs to be done, whether it feels good or not. That's what separates the ad from the elite. That's what separates talkers from doers. Anybody can be focused when they're excited. Anybody can show up on day 1. But what about day 20? What about day 200? What about the days when nobody's watching, nobody's cheering, and it's just you and the grind? That's when discipline kicks in. That's when your training takes over. You think Navy SEAL feel motivated to train every day? No, they're trained. They have discipline. That's why they're elite. Champions don't rely on mood. They rely on muscle memory. They build habits. They build routines. They're locked in through structure, not feelings. You got to structure your life in a way that supports your focus. You can't just hope you stay on track. You got to schedule your success. You got to build habits that put you in the right position every day to win. Wake up at the same time. Train at the same time. Work the plan, whether you're in the mood or not. That's discipline. That's where focus is born. The reason most people lose focus is because they don't have discipline. They're chasing emotions. They're waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you something. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The perfect mood doesn't exist. Stop being emotional. Start being intentional. Discipline means doing what you say you were going to do long after the feeling you said it and is gone. It means honoring your word even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Look, discipline is not punishment, it's freedom. Discipline gives you control. Discipline gives you power. When you're disciplined, you don't live at the mercy of your impulses. You don't jump from one thing to the next. You don't let your phone, your friends, or your fears run your life. You stay centered. You stay steady. You stay focused. You got goals, dreams, visions. Then you need structure. You need consistency. You need to build systems that keep you accountable. Because let me be real with you. If you don't have discipline, your dreams will die. Not because they weren't good enough, not because you weren't talented enough, but because you couldn't focus long enough to bring them to life. The world is full of people who started strong and finished nowhere. Why? No discipline. They got distracted. They got discouraged. They got discouraged. They got tired. And instead of pushing through, they fell back. They didn't have the habits. They didn't have the structure. They didn't have the mindset to grind when it wasn't sexy. You want to be elite? You want to stay focused and finish what you started? Then you've got to fall in love with discipline. You got to crave it. You got to chase it. Because that's the foundation. That's the engine. That's the edge. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You don't need hype. You need habits. Every day you wake up and choose. Am I going to be controlled by my emotions or by my mission? Am I going to react to life or respond with discipline? Because the answer to that question determines everything. It determines whether you move forward or fall behind, whether you rise or remain, whether you live focused or live frustrated. The choice is yours. But remember, motivation may start the engine, but only discipline will take you to the finish line. You think talent is enough. You think just because you're gifted, you're going to win. Let me tell you something. Talent is overrated. Everybody's got talent. Look around. There are people with voices like angels, speed like cheetahs, minds like computers, but they still lose. Why? Because they can't focus. They can't lock in. They got all the ability in the world, but they scatter their energy like dust in the wind. You think that's going to take you to the top? Listen to me. I've seen it too many times. The kid with the golden arm, the natural born speaker, the student who aces tests without trying. But they all fizzle out because they never learned how to stay focused. They get bored. They get distracted. They let the noise of the world drown out the voice of purpose. And while they're out chasing quick thrills, there's someone with less talent but unbreakable focus, grinding in silence, staying on task, moving inch by inch toward the goal. You don't need to be the most talented. You need to be the most locked in. That's the truth. Because when you're focused, you're dangerous. When you're focused, you start seeing things differently. You stop chasing every shiny object. You stop comparing yourself to other people. You stop wasting time trying to impress folks who don't matter. You start asking, does this action get me closer to the goal? Does this choice build me up or break me down? Talent is like a spark, but focus, that's the fire. That's what keeps the engine running when things get hard. Because here's what they won't tell you. Talent might open the door, but it's focus that keeps you in the room. Everybody loves the beginning. Everybody loves the hype. But what about when the lights go off? What about when nobody's cheering? What about when the process is slow and it feels like you're going nowhere? That's when the talented quit. That's when the gifted start doubting. That's when the focus get ahead. See, when you're focused, you don't need external motivation. You don't need applause. You don't need somebody constantly reminding you to work. You wake up with that fire in your belly. You go to bed with your purpose echoing in your head. You say no to distractions not because you're better than anyone, but because you know where you're going. You got tunnel vision. You've got tunnel vision. While others are doing 10 things at once and finishing none, you're doing one thing and mastering it. That's the difference. That's the edge. I was never the smartest. I wasn't born with silver spoons or Ivy League DNA, but I learned to focus. I learned to block out the noise. I learned to say no to parties, to sleep, to drama, because my dream meant more to me than comfort. I didn't let my lack of talent become an excuse. I turned it into a reason to work harder, to stay sharper, to focus longer than anybody else in the room. Focus beats talent every single time. Why? Because focused people outlast the storm. They outlast rejection. They outlast dry seasons. The talented give up when it gets hard. The focus keeps showing up. The focus keep putting in reps when it's not fun. The focus don't care how long it takes. They just know quit is not an option. You got talent. That's good. But talent without focus is like a race car with no steering wheel. You're fast, but you're crashing into everything. You're powerful, but you're directionless. Focus gives your gift purpose. Focus gives your energy a path. Focus turns potential into progress. So stop trying to be impressive and start being consistent. Stop trying to be everywhere and start showing up in one place every day until it breaks wide open. I don't care how gifted you are. If you can't stay focused, you'll never finish. You'll never reach the level that belongs to you. Your greatness is not in what you were born, it's in what you do with it. And if you want to do something legendary, you better learn how to lock in. Get focused, stay focused, and finish what you started. And finish what you started. You keep asking why you're not growing, why you're not elevating, why your life feels stuck. Let me ask you, what are you focusing on? Because you don't grow by accident, you grow by intention. You grow when you focus. You grow when you stop spreading your energy thin and start directing it with purpose. Plants don't grow without sunlight. Muscles don't grow without resistance. And dreams don't grow without focus. And every single day you wake up, you've got a choice. You can scatter your attention on things that don't matter, or you can lock in on something that feeds your soul, that pushes you, that stretches you, that takes you beyond what's comfortable. Focus is the water, the soil, the sunlight for your growth. You can't grow if you're always distracted. You can't grow if your mind is divided. You can't grow if you're trying to chase everything at once. The people who grow are not always the most talented, the smartest, or the most connected. They're the most focused. They know where they're going. They know what they want. And they put everything into it. They're not trying to impress the world. They're too busy becoming something real. While the world's watching reels, they're building results. While everybody's multitasking, they're mastering. While the crowd is moving fast and aimless, they're moving slow and intentional. And over time, they grow, they evolve, they transform. You don't need 1,000 things. You need one purpose, one direction, one goal that you can wake up for, and then you give it everything. You focus on it day in and day out. You study it. You grind for it. You sacrifice for it. Because whatever you give your attention to consistently, that's what grows. Give your time to complaining, and guess what? Your frustration grows. Give your time to gossip, and negativity grows. But give your time to your craft, your vision, your purpose, and you grow. Focus creates mastery. You want to master something? Lock in. Stay there. Show up every day. Do the reps. Read the books. Watch the film. Practice in silence when nobody is clapping. Get so focused on getting better that you forget about being perfect. Forget about being seen. You're not here for applause. You're here for evolution. You're here to become the version of yourself that can carry the weight of the dream you've been praying for. Growth is not comfortable. It requires focus because growth demands discomfort. Growth stretches you. And when you're stretched, the easiest thing to do is quit. To shift your attention to something easier, something fun, something quick. But the ones who grow, they embrace the stretch. They focus through the pain. They stay locked in through the storm. And that's how you level up. When you focus, you start noticing what's holding you back. You start seeing the bad habits, the toxic relationships, the time-wasting behaviors, and you deal with them. You stop running, you face yourself, and you do the work. That's where real growth happens. Not in pretending, but in confronting. Not in fantasizing, but in focusing. Don't get it twisted. Growth isn't flashy. It's quiet. It's slow. It's daily. It's the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's what you choose to focus on when no one's around to reward you. But I promise you, when you commit to focus, when you stay the course, when you keep your eyes on the prize, even when the results are invisible, one day you're gonna look back and realize you're not the same person. You grew. You elevated. You rose. And the world is going to ask you how you did it, how you got here. You're going to tell them, I focused. While everybody else was drifting, I was building. While everybody else was distracted, I was locked in. I didn't chase a million things, I chased one. And because I chased one with everything I had, I grew into someone greater than I ever imagined. So stop chasing distractions. Stop jumping from thing to thing. Stop looking for quick wins. Focus. Focus on your mission. Focus on your discipline. Focus on the grind. Because when you focus, you grow. And when you grow, you unlock doors no one thought you could open. Pressure breaks people who aren't focused. That's the truth. Pressure either exposes you or it expands you. And the difference between breaking and breaking through is focus. When life comes at you fast, when the weight gets heavy, when everything feels like it's closing in, that's not the time to panic. That's the time to lock in. That's the time to lean into your vision harder than ever. Pressure was never meant to crush you. It was meant to shape you, mold you, build you into something stronger, something greater. But you gotta focus to survive it. You gotta focus to turn that pressure into power. Everybody wants the blessing, but nobody wants the burden. Everybody wants the spotlight, but they don't want the stress. But let me tell you, there's no greatness without pressure. There's no elevation without struggle. You think diamonds just appear? No, they're formed under pressure. You think champions just rise? No, they're forged in fire. They go through stuff. They experience the heat, but they don't fold. They don't run. They focus. They take all that pressure, all that pain, and they turn it into fuel. The problem is too many of you get hit with pressure and you scatter. You start questioning everything. You start doubting yourself. You let emotions take over. You let fear drive the wheel. You start reacting instead of responding. And when you do that, you give away your power. You've got to focus, even in the chaos, especially in the chaos. You've got to find stillness thumb. You got to remember what you're fighting for, and you got to zoom in on it like your life depends on it, because it does. Pressure is a test. It's asking you, are you serious about this or not? Do you really want it, or were you just talking? Pressure doesn't lie. It reveals. It strips away the fluff and shows you who you are. And when it hits, your focus becomes your anchor. That's what keeps you from drifting. That's what keeps you from quitting. Focus brings clarity and confusion. It brings order to chaos. It reminds you, this is why I started. This is why I grind. This is where I'm headed. Some of y'all are under pressure right now. Life's heavy. The bills, the expectations, the setbacks, the critics. It's a lie. I know, I've been there. But I'm telling you, that pressure is not the end of you. It's the making of you. If you can stay focused, you'll come out stronger. You'll come out wiser. You'll come out ready. But you got to stop letting the weight of the world pull you into distraction. You've got to stop numbing yourself with comfort and entertainment. You've got to feel that pressure and channel it. Use it. Let it sharpen your edge. Let it fuel your hustle. Focus gives you control. When pressure hits, it wants to control you. It wants to own your thoughts, your mood, your mindset. But when you focus, you flip the script. You say, nah, I'm still in charge. I'm still on mission. You don't let the pressure distract you. You let it define you. You let it make you better. You stay in the pocket, keep your eyes forward, and you execute. Look at every great person, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists. They didn't become great because they avoided pressure. They became great because they embraced it. They leaned into it. When everybody else tapped out, they turned up. Why? Because they had laser focus. They didn't let the pressure make them emotional. They stayed strategic. They didn't let it break them. They let it build them. And listen to me. When you learn how to focus under pressure, nothing can stop you. That's when you become dangerous. That's when you stop waiting for perfect condition. That's when you show up and perform no matter what. Pressure becomes your jam. Focus becomes your strength. And together they create a force that no failure, no setback, no enemy can withstand. So the next time life presses down on you, don't break, don't fold, don't run. Focus, breathe, remember why you're here. Lock in on your goal and let the pressure drive you to new levels of discipline, execution, and power. Because pressure isn't your problem, it's your proving ground. And with focus, you don't just survive it, you rise through it. You say you want success. You say you want greatness. You say you want to win. But what happens when it starts to hurt? What happens when it stops being exciting and starts becoming painful? When the grind stops being fun and starts getting real, that's the point where most people fall off. That's where the talk stops and the truth shows up. And the only people who make it through that fire are the ones who stay focused even when it hurts. See, pain isn't the enemy. Quitting is. Distraction is. Doubt is. Pain is part of the process, part of the price. You can't grow without it. You can't evolve without it. But you have to make up your mind that you're not going to let pain dictate your actions. You've got to decide that your focus is stronger than your feelings. Because feelings lie. Feelings tell you to stop. They tell you it's too hard. They tell you to turn back. But you're focused. That's the truth. That's your purpose. That's your calling. That's the voice that says, hey, keep going. You got to stay locked in even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, even when everything in your body is screaming for comfort. You got to lock into your purpose and say, I'm not stopping until I finish. Most people only focus when things are going their way. When the money's coming in, when the support is strong, when the motivation is high. But champions, they focus when there's no applause. They show up when it's cold, when it's lonely, when the pain is heavy. They don't need perfect circumstances. They bring perfect focus. When I was grinding to get out of homelessness, I had every reason to give up. I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, going days without food. I was hurting, man. But I had a vision, and I locked in on it. I stopped focusing on how I felt and started focusing on where I was going. I was broke, but I stayed focused. I was tired, but I started focused, stayed focused. And because I didn't let the pain break my focus, I grew through it. I transformed through it. I became who I am today through it. Pain is a teacher. It doesn't show up to stop you. It shows up to shape you. But you can only get the lesson if you stay focused long enough to pass the test. You've got to stop running every time it gets hard. You've got to stop looking for the exit and start looking for the edge. The edge that's going to take you higher. The edge that's going to separate you from average. And that edge is always on the other side of pain. You've got dreams, but the reason you haven't reached them yet isn't because they're impossible. It's because you keep losing focus when it hurts. You keep getting distracted by emotions, by fear, by failure, but you've got to shift your mindset. You've got to get to a point where you say, I don't care how hard it gets. I'm locked in. You've got to treat your purpose like oxygen. You don't quit breathing because it burns your lungs. You breathe through it. You keep going. That's focus. You've got to understand that there's a version of you on the other side of the pain that's waiting to be born, a stronger you, a wiser you, a more disciplined you. But that version doesn't show up until you stay focused long enough to push through the hurt. The old you has to die for the new you to rise. And that death, it hurts, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Stop praying for the pain to go away. Start praying for the focus to endure it. Start asking for the strength to stay locked in when everything he wants to check out. Because that's where the victory is. That's where the breakthrough lives. Anybody can be focused when it's easy. Anybody can show up when it feels good. But the ones who win, really win. They show up when it hurts. They focus through the fire. And because of that, they come out stronger. So don't run from the pain. Don't get distracted by it. Don't let it steal your dream. Stay focused even when it hurts. Because that hurt, that's your signal that you're on the edge of something powerful. That's the signal that you're getting close. And if you can just stay locked in a little longer, you're going to break through. You're going to rise. You're going to win.